Man, we're going to part two of our crushing interview brought to you by Oracy Software with our guy, Maceo. Please introduce our next guest, sir.
Hey, man, I say this all the time. One of the best athletes to ever come to the great state of Georgia. One Quincy Carter, Southwest DeKalb Finals. What up, Q?
Hey, what's up, baby? How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, boy. What's happening?
Man, not much. I appreciate the love, man. I really do.
Man, always.
Quincy, when you hear, hey, what's going on, Quincy Z Glaze? When you hear Georgia legends, sir, what do you think about back in your days in the Southwest DeKalb days, sir?
Man, first of all, it's an honor, to be honest with you, to be mentioning, with some of the greatest to ever come out of the state of Georgia. We talk about Herschel Walker, Dominique Wilkins, even going back to my high school, Hassan Graham, and man, it's an honor, man, and I take pride in it, to be honest with you, too, because, our state, man, is, each and every year, hey, we bring out the best, out the whole country, man, but to still be, mentioned with the greats over 20 years after graduating from high school, man, shit, I'm blessed, man, and I'm honored, to be honest with you.
Man, Quincy, I got to start with this. I remember back in the day, you had a nice 8x10 glossy photo in Nike Town. I mean, you were getting that kind of love then. How hard was that for you in high school to know that you were getting that kind of recognition, but you try to be a low-key kind of guy?
It was tough, but man, I'm telling you, Maceo, man, God really prepared me for so much at a young age. Not only going to one of the most prestigious high schools there is in the state of Georgia, Southwest DeKalb, and living up to that pressure from the legends that I had to follow, but also, being able to experience a little professional baseball too early in my life, man. And man, it just seems like my steps were ordered, and it was a lot of pressure, but hey, I got a lot of support and a lot of love back home too. That pushed me over the top too. So it was a lot of pressure, but at the same time, man, God really prepared me, man, and ordered my steps along the way.
Of course, I always like to ask this about high schoolers. Which one, you did the two sports well, baseball and football. I'm going to put you out there. Which one was your favorite? You can go ahead and say it. Which one was that love, Quincy? Was it football or baseball, Quincy?
Honestly, man, my first love was baseball because actually it was my first sport. But hey, man, growing up, in Decatur, in Atlanta, living on the Cedar Grove side at first, a lot of my friends, my homeboys know that too, but being on the Cedar Grove side at first and then coming over to the Southwest DeKalb side, man, that football love just continued to grow in me. And then, I took off and went and played a couple of years for the Cubs up in a little single-A baseball or whatever. And man, that love, man, from football, I just couldn't let it go. So I can sit here and tell you that, hey, baseball was my first love, but football, man, it just took over. And that, that has a lot to do with our state, man, and the pride that we have in the state of Georgia when it comes to football, too.
Now, let me ask you this, Quincy. I always wanted to know, once you decided to go back to football and you ended up going to Georgia, why didn't you wear 3? Why did you pick 17?
Hey, now my homeboy, I'm gonna go ahead and answer this question. He'll probably get over it now, but I hope he's not listening. No, but my homeboy Thaddeus, listen to me. My homeboy Thaddeus Parker, man, went to Tri-Cities, played over there with Big Jonas Jennings. And he knew I had a little money in my pocket from baseball, and he was wearing number 3 at the time.
Playing receiver.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whole Thad, man. And Thad wanted me to pay $5,000 for that jersey. And I said,
You go ahead and keep that.
Yeah. You go ahead.
I said, son, Charlie Roy was my idol growing up anyway, so let me go ahead and grab this 17.
Let me get this 17 over here. I don't need this 5. I'll go ahead and get this 17 over here.
Yeah, so that's how that went, man.
Wow.
So, Quincy, you went from Southwest DeKalb, which was a high school powerhouse. Then you go to, how we crazy about Georgia football. Talk to us about those years as a Bulldog.
say that again. I couldn't hear you, brother.
Talk to us about that time at Georgia, because you know how crazy these Georgia fans can get up here. How was that Georgia time frame for you?
Man, you know something? I loved it. I enjoyed it, but and I don't mean to say but like I didn't have a good time. But it was a business, man, and that's the way. You know, I know a lot of coaches right now probably cringing at me just because I'm saying it, but these are, I mean, this is how athletes got to approach college. First of all, go and get those books, man, and get that education, because everybody ain't making it to the NFL, NBA, or Major League Baseball. But man, it was a business. Of course, all the times weren't great. You're going to get your fans that, hey, rub you the wrong way or whatever. But, man, be honest with you, man, that's the part of the game, man. That's the part of life. So you got to be able to deal with that. But man, you know something, I hate to, really say this, man, because I love the University of Georgia, man, but it was a business, man. It really was, and I had to approach it like that. And, to all these athletes out here, man, now, man, you're a commodity. As soon as you're a commodity in high school now anyway, but especially when you get on those campuses, man, it's all business, man. You got to approach it like that.
Quincy, to be able to play for the Dallas Cowboys, to hear your name get drafted, a lot of people don't know, after Mike Vick went in that draft, you were the next quarterback taken. A lot of people don't understand, they don't realize that. Being able to be drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, how was that to hear your name called on draft day?
Man, it was crazy. It was crazy, man. Honestly, I didn't grow up a Cowboys fan. I actually grew up a Bears fan because I was born in Chicago. I moved down when I was about 3 or 4 or whatever. So, but I grew up a Bears fan. I really didn't realize. You hear about the Cowboys growing up. Hell, I think they won one Super Bowl when I was I think in '95 or whatever, right before I got ready to graduate. I think that Super Bowl was in Atlanta. But man, it was an honor. But I didn't realize how big and how magnified it was, to be honest with you, while I was in it. And and I wish I could have, woulda, coulda, shoulda handled I guess the pressure of it, and actually the glamorization of it too, a little bit better, to be honest with you, man. But man, it was an honor, but I didn't look at it like that when I first got drafted, because I wasn't a big Cowboys fan like that. You know what I mean? But now looking back on it and seeing how how magnified the organization is and everything, it's really opened up my eyes. But while I was in it, though, I really didn't see it like that, to be honest with you.
But you still beloved down there. How would you talk about that time at Dallas for you? I know you're saying that it's big, but how would you characterize your time as a Cowboy down in Dallas?
Man, it was fun. It was exciting, but at the same time, it was also interesting too, because it was a dynamic that I never seen before. Now I've seen, our fans of Southwest DeKalb, the fans at Georgia, how much we get into football. But let me tell you now, these fans in Dallas, the Cowboys fans, it's on a whole nother level. Now,
trust me, Quincy, we got one here.
Okay.
Maceo is one.
But I'll be honest with you, they're some of the greatest fans in the world, but I just wasn't ready for it to be on that level. I'll tell you a crazy story. I went over, it's this lady named, we call her Miss Price. You've probably seen her 1,000 times on videos. The black lady who sits in the front, and I actually got the opportunity to become friends with her a little bit, and went over to her house, and I've never seen anyone's house that has nothing but Dallas Cowboys. Wow. I mean, throughout the whole house, there's not a rug or a mat or plate or fork that don't say Dallas Cowboys, and it was just the craziest thing to me, man. So man, yeah, it was fun, but at the same time, it was so interesting, man, because wow, I didn't know that it was such on that level. You know what I mean? So,
hey,
but I enjoyed it.
Hey, Quincy, real quick, we got to take a quick commercial break. Can you sit with us and hold on? All right.
Oh, heck yeah.
Hey, so we'll talk to more Quincy Carter when we come back. Stay with us. No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp. I can probably hit the green from here. Probably. Can I get a mulligan? Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay. Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
If you're looking for that ratchet, you're in the wrong place. It's the nation's urban internet station, Sensation Station Network. Sensation Network.
We're back, man, in part 2 of our crushing interview with our guy, Southwest the Cab Finest, Quincy Carter. Hey, man, so I was last, man. You go ahead and get the next one in, man.
Oh, yeah, Q. My next question for you, sir. Well, I want to take back a lot of the Doug, how people, they chiming in now, Townsend. Ask Quincy about what we did to him. Ask Quincy what he did. Talk about that Doug Southwest DeKalb rivalry, Quincy. Everybody just want to talk about it.
Oh, man, it was one of the best shows, man, in the city for that date and that day. And it was, man, it was, and I hate to keep reiterating how fun it was, though, man, but I had a lot of fun playing football, though, man. But man, it was the game of the year, man. And, man, you know something? They got us my senior year. Old Jamal Lewis, man, ran over us for about 200 plus yards. So now I will say this: it was in the rain. Now, so it was.
You just gonna put that out there for him, right?
I'm just gonna throw that on out there. But they called us, man, and we couldn't get the air show off the ground. You know, we had old Arvin Richards back there running for about 100 plus. But we couldn't. Oh man, old Bam Bam, but we couldn't get the passing game off the ground, though, man. But hey, man, that game was a lot of fun, though, man. It meant the world to everybody on both sides, east and the west side of Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
Now, Quincy, you talk about the levels that you played on. You went from Southwest DeKalb to Georgia to the Dallas Cowboys. How would you describe your career overall?
Honestly, and I'm hard on myself, I would describe it as incomplete. You know, yeah, I was, you know, I had some success in high school, of course. You know, college, I ended up getting hurt and breaking my thumb and leaving my junior year. And then, of course, in Dallas, you know, everybody knows of, you know, the drug test that I failed and eventually getting cut by them and then going up to the Jets or whatever. So I would say incomplete. You know, I did have some great times, though, you know, and some good success, though. But at the same time, you know, I'm hard on myself. And that's why I want to, you know, really, you know, let kids know, too, at the same time, you know, and the reason why I'm saying incomplete is because I stopped myself. You know, I made a mistake. I made a mistake that cost me my career and how people look at me. And that's when, especially at the quarterback position, and especially being a black quarterback, you can't give them anything, all right? You can't give them anything to set you back, man. So, And that's why I love, man, I appreciate all the love that I get from back home or whatever. But, I'm going to say incomplete on this one, Maceo, simply because, man, I stopped myself from being great. And I want every kid out there to know, man, hey, listen, don't start something that you can't stop. You know what I mean? As far as your habits, man. So, I would say incomplete, man. But hey, all these kids out here listening right now, and I hope you are, man. Don't give them nothing, man, to set yourself back.
Wow, Quincy, I remember when Hard Knocks followed the Cowboys the year you were there, and you purposely, it seemed like, tried to avoid the camera a lot because it was like you were really focused on that position. 'Cause they had started bringing all these guys in, but you were just focusing on the work.
Yeah, but that's what it's got to be about. If you're not diving in that playbook and don't know the intricacies of everything, especially being a quarterback, everything, how's your left tackle block on this play, your right tackle, your fullback, your receiver. If you don't know what everybody's doing on that football field, your success rate is already going down. So it was always, seriously, it was always important to me to always be on top of my game. But at the same time, I had coaches like Steve Davenport, over at South Gwinnett right now. Of course, Buck Godfrey. Coach Tanks, Coach Elder. I had some men around me, the men around all of us, man, who made sure that we was focused players like that. Didn't come from me. Everybody who, went through our program, man, these are the kind of guys that you got. And that's the kind of players we were, and that's just the Southwest DeKalb spirit, period, point blank. And that's just how we went about our business, man. We went about it, all football. And that's just the way you got to approach, life, period, man, if you're trying to get to the pinnacle of your career. So it was always important to me, man, to stay on top of my game. I appreciate, man, you pointing that out, too.
And Quincy, you said that you're hard on yourself. How did you get past that time, and how are you doing right now? I think you still got a great career. So how are you? Because a lot of people don't get there, Quincy. Let's be real about it. And a lot of people ain't getting to the levels you got to. But how have you got past it yourself to get to the point where you're not as hard on yourself and you're doing more things?
God. And taking a deep look at myself, for years, man, I sat back and said, oh man, look how the Cowboys did me. They weren't supposed to release me because of a drug test and this and that. But I wasn't looking that man in the mirror and saying, well, what part did you play in this? Was you giving your all, off the field, and so I just started, man, looking at myself, man, and then at the same time, God, man, brought me up out of all of it, and so, but hey, man, I'm doing well now. God has got me in a place where he wants me right now, and that's reaching out to kids, man, training kids. If I can give them something, a nugget in their ear, man, to take along with them if I see them, and so that's where God has led me to right now.
Well, you're still out in Texas, so I know you feel that love. But every time I run into people here, they always like, man, Quincy need to come home. Quincy should be back in the ATL. Just talk about deciding to stay in Texas versus being back home.
Yeah, well, honestly, I moved back in 2011. I started coaching up in North Georgia. I was coaching at Atlanta Sports Academy, a prep school, and
right.
also I was coaching over at Dawsonville Christian Middle School.
Okay.
And I spent 3 years up in North Georgia. And to be honest with you, man, Texas just called me back. It was, no, seriously, yeah, it was a feel. It was where I was in my life, where I am right now in my life, the type of speed I'm on. And it's just, really it's just God led. It's not, where I, don't want to be home. I don't want to be in Atlanta. It's really just God led. So when somebody, ring that phone of mine and offer me that high school job, and I can sit down and listen and see, see if it fits right now in my life, then, pray about it and let God lead me to that. But as for right now, man, God has me in Texas, and this is what I feel right now. This is, but hey, Decatur and Atlanta are always gonna be home for me, man. That'll never change. But this is where, you know what? This is where my life is right now.
Well, Quincy, man, I just want to say personally, and I know Make Sure feel the same. We thank you for taking the time out. A lot of people been wanting to hear from you. We're glad you came on our show and talked to us, man.
And we got to do it again soon, bro.
Yes, sir. So we got your number.
Oh,
we locking it
definitely.
in. We locking it in,
Yes,
Quincy.
definitely, man. Hey, man, look, and check this out, man. I love everything that y'all are doing, too, man. You know, I watch the show from a distance, man. I love everything y'all doing, man. Y'all keep doing y'all thing, too.
Hey, man.
Hey, boy, I love you, boy. You know that.
Hey, you too,
Hey,
brother.
look, man. I know I'm going to say it. The great Quincy Carter.
The great
man.
Quincy Carter. I always say that.
Thank you, man.
Thank you,
I
Quincy,
appreciate
man.
it.
All right, baby, boy. Check that mailbox, boy.
We about to take a quick break.
Oh,
We'll be
for
right back.
sure. Thank you, too, brother.
Yes, sir.
Sensation Station, Roll Lewis Enterprise, and Radio to Atlanta present